Alright, buckle up. Let me take you to the very intense and oddly comical Battle of Paulus Hook. You're about to witness a midnight escapade on August 19, 1779 that was as much a stealth mission as it was a crazy heist pulled off by the Continental Army. So the stage was set. The year was 1779 and America was knee-deep in the Revolutionary War. British forces were holding Paulus Hook, New Jersey, just across the river from New York City. Now, this place was a fortress. Guarded by redcoats and secured with barricades, Paulus Hook was thought to be untouchable. And the British were chilling, thinking, hey, there's no way the Americans would dare come for us here. Enter Major Henry Hold My Bayonet Lee. Lee wasn't exactly your typical guy. He was audacious, charismatic, and just a bit unhinged. People called him Light Horse Harry, but let's just say he was anything but light when it came to handling the British. Lee, being Lee, had this crazy idea. He wanted to attack Paulus Hook at night with fewer men than you'd expect for something this risky. Yeah, you'd think his troops would be like, wait, what now? But he sold it. He gave one of those motivational speeches, like imagine the look on the British faces when they see us tearing down their defenses. And his men fired up and ready to roll. So here's the deal. Lee's plan was simple and nuts. He'd take about 400 men, sneak up on Paulus Hook, hit the British when they least expected it, and ideally get out of there before they even realized what happened. One slight problem. Between Lee's crew and the British fortress was a river with high tides and marshes thicker than British pudding. If they timed it wrong, they'd be bogged down in mud, sinking like redcoats in quicksand. But Lee? He was like, tides, marshes, British guards, we got this. And off they went under the cover of night. As they approached, the tension was high. The soldiers moved quietly, trying not to make a sound. Imagine hundreds of troops creeping like tiptoeing ninjas, hoping not to alert a single guard. Lee's heart must have been racing because this was it, the moment of truth. Just as they reached the fortress, things started going sideways. First, one of the soldiers tripped. A loud thud echoed through the silence. Everyone froze. Did the British hear? Silence. Okay, cool, no one noticed. Then Lee and his troops managed to make it through the defenses like they were strolling into their neighbor's backyard. They launched their attack with muskets blazing, bayonets flashing, and the British, total panic. They had no clue what hit them. One British officer probably yelled, "Wait, it's the Americans! Here, a Paulus Hook!" His buddies were too busy scrambling around to answer. Lee's men took control, capturing dozens of British soldiers in record time. They stormed through barracks, seizing one redcoat after another. By now, the British troops were basically sitting ducks, and the Americans were cleaning house. But here's where it gets spicy. Lee's goal wasn't just to grab British soldiers, it was to prove a point. This was like the ultimate American mic drop moment. They pulled off the unthinkable, made the British look silly, and scored a serious morale boost for the Patriots. Oh, and did I mention, they managed all this without losing a single man. Yeah, the Americans came in, dropped havoc, and were about to pull off the stealthiest escape in history. Well, almost. So Lee and his men were about to bail, thinking, mission accomplished. But surprise, the British finally started rallying back, like they just woke up from the most chaotic nap ever. Realizing they were under attack, they began to counterattack. The British were fuming and ready to chase Lee's guys down. Lee quickly rallied his men, and they began their retreat, moving as fast as they could with the Brits hot on their trail. The Americans dodged, weaved, and somehow kept a step ahead, running through the marshes and back across the river. With some slick maneuvering, they finally got out of British reach. Lee was basically pulling off the 18th century version of Catch Me If You Can. By the time they returned to their camp, Lee and his men were like legends. They had raided one of the most fortified British outposts and lived to tell the tale. News spread, and soon everyone was talking about how Major Light Horse Lee had taken on Paulus Hook with a handful of men, captured dozens of redcoats, and humiliated the British right under their noses. Even George Washington himself was like, nice job, Lee. That was unexpected. Lee got praised, decorated, and became a hero for pulling off one of the most daring raids of the Revolution. The Battle of Paulus Hook became an iconic moment in the Revolutionary War. It wasn't just a military victory, it was a huge morale booster for the Continental Army and a brutal blow to British pride. The British had been bested at their own game. outsmarted and outmaneuvered in their supposedly impenetrable stronghold. Lee's crazy, gutsy raid at Paulus Hook is remembered as one of those you had to be there moments. It showed the world that the Americans weren't just scrappy fighters. They were tactical masterminds who knew how to hit where it hurt. A Major Henry Lee, he became a legend in the war, known for his fearless, no-holds-barred approach that kept the British constantly on their toes. In the end, the Battle of Paulus Hook wasn't just about a fight. It was about resilience, guts, and a whole lot of American spirit. Plus, a little smack talk didn't hurt either.